Welcome to the Cedar Valley Podcast. Consider this your inside look at what makes our region special. We talk about everyday life here in the Cedar Valley, the voices speaking up for progress, the ideas shaping our future, and the partners investing in our success. We believe community is built one conversation at a time, and we've saved you a seat at the table. Well, hi, Sam. Thanks for joining us on the Cedar Valley Podcast. We appreciate you taking just a few minutes to talk with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, I want to talk to you a little bit about the United Way. Obviously, an organization that a lot of people know has a huge impact here in the community, here in a lot of communities. So, I'd love to know, just share with me a little bit about United Way and the role that you play here in the Cedar Valley.
Right. Cedar Valley United Way has been a part of this community for over 100 years. And we were founded because local leaders saw the power of coming together to meet community needs. And that's exactly what we still do today. We bring people, resources, and organizations together to respond to whatever challenges our community is facing.
Wow, that's incredible. I don't think a lot of people probably know that the United Way has been here 100 years. I certainly didn't know that. That's impressive.
Yeah, it is. We wanted to throw this big extravagant party, but, nonprofit. So here we
The real thing. That's right. So you talked about community needs. What are some of the biggest needs that you're seeing here in the Cedar Valley right now?
We are seeing a lot of need in our community right now. Everything from obviously mental health. We see a lot of need around rent assistance, utility assistance, food assistance, but we also see the need for transportation. So people to get to medical appointments, people to get to their jobs. Transportation is kind of that underlying hidden issue that you don't necessarily think about.
Yeah, absolutely. We hear a lot about transportation and how it impacts the ability for people to get to work and be contributing members of our community. So that is a huge issue. So to that point, why is it so important for our local businesses to stay involved and to give back to the community, to give to United Way?
Well, our work doesn't happen alone. It takes strong local partnerships with people and organizations who believe in our community. What makes a strong community partnership is consistency and commitment, showing up year after year, understanding the needs, and being willing to invest in solutions that make a difference.
No, I love that. And you have a great group of community volunteers organizations that give back to United Way year after year, which I think speaks to the work that your organization is doing because people see the impact they continue to give. So kudos to you and your team for that.
Thank you.
So as you know, I'm going to be talking with Phil Nash from Community Bank and Trust later today, and they have been longtime supporters of the United Way. And with our podcast, the way that we typically start is we've got a question for the person that we're interviewing. And I would love to hear what your question for Phil is today.
Yeah, so my question is Community Bank and Trust has such a strong presence of giving back. They've given 100% employee participation to Cedar Valley United Way for almost the last 30 years, the last 29 years, which is incredible. And that consistency says a lot about their values and their belief in investing in people and our community. How do you encourage your team to give back to our community?
Oh, that's a great question, Sam. All right, Sam Gutknecht, thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with us today. We'll look forward to hearing what Phil has to say when we talk to him later.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks. All right. Well, hey, Phil Nash, Community Bank and Trust, thank you so much for being a part of the Cedar Valley Podcast. We're happy to have you here today.
I'm excited.
So we're going to cover a couple things today. First and foremost, let's talk a little bit about the Grow Cedar Valley annual celebration that happened last week. I want to just first and foremost say thank you. Community Bank and Trust was the premier sponsor of that event, as they have been for several years. And that's an event that couldn't happen without your organization support. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, no problem. We're happy to do it, thrilled to do it, especially when the level of detail that you all put into the event was made. It's a great investment for us. We love celebrating the Cedar Valley every single year. Amazing award winners. I'm always like, how do they keep coming up with award recipients? And like, oh, that was a great year. What a great year. Hard to top that. And then the next year, you're like, oh, geez, yeah, I forgot about all these people, and they do such a great job. And it's an awesome event. So thanks for continuing to put it on. I know it's a lot of work for you, for the team. But great job. It's a cool event.
Hey, well, thank you. And it really is an opportunity to celebrate all of the progress that continues to happen in the Cedar Valley. And to your point, it takes all of us. It's not one organization, one institution that can do it. It's all of us. And for those that haven't attended the annual celebration before, it really is an evening where we do honor award recipients in a number of categories. And it's also just a party. It's an opportunity to celebrate the Cedar Valley. So thank you for your participation. This year was a little extra special. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, no, was surprised by all the different ways that you highlighted the culture in the Cedar Valley. And we're all aware of how diverse the community is with the different populations and the corners. We cover Cedar Falls and Waterloo, so we have clientele from both, all walks of life. And you did a really good job between the food, some of the decor, and some of the reminders. Even some of the award recipients were diverse. Then you brought out the drum line, at the end of the awards, and that was really fun. I always love seeing them in the parades and stuff. They're really cool. So, and the food was wonderful. Awesome. Who prepared the food? Did the Waterloo Convention Center do that?
So it was largely the Waterloo Convention Center that prepared our global and regional cuisine. That was the focus. But in talking to the chef at the Waterloo Convention Center, he said that he also pulled in food from local restaurateurs. So the Balkan Cafe was one partnership. So it was a great opportunity to certainly experience food from the convention center, but also to have cuisine that is prepared by people of those ethnicities. So to have Bosnian food prepared by Bosnians, I think that's really special.
Well, and live music from the symphony. I mean, the whole thing was really, just really fun.
It really was a celebration of the arts and the culture and the diversity and everything that makes our community so rich. So thank you again. Now, when I was talking about something special, I was talking about something different. You guys won an award.
Oh yeah, we did, didn't we?
You sure did.
Well, and again, I'll go back to say it's great getting an award, and sometimes you forget how special it is to be an award recipient. So thank you for doing that. And we were nominated and got voted on, and I think Stacy put it well when we got the award. Yes, we won this award this year. We're a great business, and we do a lot to focus on our employees and the amount of work that they do in the community. Really, really cool to recognize them, because they put in a lot of hours, even outside of working hours, to do that. So thank you for that. But really, we're just keeping pace with everybody else in the Cedar Valley. Oh my gosh, when you think about all the work that other people do, and you're just trying to keep up, you're like, man, I wish we could do that much and not just what we do. Stacy highlighted that in her speech and was really just trying to be complimentary of the entire community and how cool it is to be part of the Cedar Valley.
Yeah.
And the event does a good job doing that, and I think our award represents some of that.
Well, I appreciate the humility, and I will also push back a little bit in that you are not just keeping up.
Thank you. Okay.
You guys you're setting the bar in terms of how organizations treat their people, how they give back to the community. One of the things that we highlighted as part of your award presentation was your work culture. Sounds like you've got a great culture at Community Bank and Trust. Tell me a little bit about that.
Thank you. And I'm glad to answer this question, because it's really, when people talk about why they are committed to working at Community Bank and Trust, the culture is the number one thing that they highlight. And I mean, I would start by saying the number one priority we have is hiring great people to take care of our clients. And so those great people provide exceptional service. And then we boil culture in underneath that. When it comes to the vision, it's the Community Bank and Trust. We're going to hire the best people, and we're going to be a leader in the market when it comes to relationship management. It's boiled into our values. We provide professional service. We have all the tools of a major financial institution, and we become a one-stop financial resource. It makes us a responsive local bank with the resources of a national bank. I don't know how many people are aware that our charter is owned by QCR Holdings, which is a publicly traded multi-charter holding company. And combined, our sister banks and us, we are about a $10 billion bank, just a little under that. But our treasury management services, our lending capacity, things like that trickle down from that. But it also helps us manage human resources. our payroll, our finance, things like that get bought on a group plan. So that economy of scale gives us the ability to provide things like, we have an unbelievable insurance plan, for instance, and people take that for granted a little bit, but it's a low premium, low deductible plan that's really great, for people that are working jobs like if you're a teller or a personal banker, just getting started in the world. That insurance makes a big difference when you're starting your family.
Yep.
We all know how tough that is. If I could highlight a few other things that make our culture exceptional.
Please do.
We had 16 people at the event on Thursday, and we only have a staff of about 31 in the Cedar Valley total. So to fill those 2 tables is a bit of a stretch.
Sure, yeah.
But take that forward. We volunteered in 2025 1,000 hours of community service. And we pay people, we give them a day, 8 hours, which is basically a PTO day, to go out and volunteer. If you multiply that, that's only really 240 hours that people get paid to volunteer. So there's another 750 hours that just come from people's just care about the community. They have their causes. I volunteer. I'm on the board at Grow Cedar Valley, but I'm also part of the Waterloo Community Foundation, the Job Foundation, my kids' school. I do some with the Boys and Girls Club, of course, and all of that counts in, and it's encouraged. It's part of my performance plan even. Like,
wow.
I talk with my manager about what boards are you on? What are you volunteering for? And we try to mix a little bit of, we need to be in the community facing the clients that we have, but also what's the type of thing that gives you passion? So, coaching my kids' Little League team is the thing that gives me passion. Doesn't necessarily bring in a lot of clients that way, but it's a way for me to boost my job satisfaction.
Absolutely.
Like, go out, do that. Take
Some
a little
personal
time.
Fulfillment,
Even
right?
leave a little early if you have to go run a practice. Yeah, personal fulfillment's big, and it makes people more engaged. So when they're back at work, then they're a little more happy. They're a little more engaged to come and do that. And I could go on and on. I have a whole list here I brought. I had to write it down because it's hard to remember everything that we do to support our people.
Well, and I think that speaks to why your organization, again, was acknowledged as an organization that's really doing it right in the community. You talk about giving back and the importance of, supporting your clients in the community. Tell me a little bit more about why giving back to the community is so important to your bank.
Yeah, that's easy. There's a business imperative for banks to support the community. And not just banks, any business. You're not going to thrive as a business in a community that you're not building up around you. If you let it fall apart, your business will fall apart. I don't think there's any lack of correlation between the two. Now, our clientele are close to our bank, so it's even more imperative to us as a business to make sure that happens. But it really comes down to just that. And supporting your employees is important too. You got to make sure that they're earning a fair wage. Our company has come up with a gain sharing plan that shares a little bit of the profit that we make as a bank.
Wow.
And there's performance expectations that come in behind that. One of our values is accountability, and we're going to work hard, we're going to play hard, and we're going to, you're going to get fair compensation for putting your effort in behind that. And so, I highlight things like that just to say, our employees are just as important as our community, as our shareholders, and our clients in our values. It's stated explicitly at the top of the page. So there's just no question that the community is a very important piece of what we do.
No, I love that. And it is absolutely demonstrated in the work that you all do in seeing you at different events out in the community. You're a very engaged group, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
There is another benefit that I know about that you've not touched on.
Please.
You all do a sabbatical.
Yes.
Let's talk about that, because that sounds pretty great.
Unbelievably unique, right? And I think that I'm aware of, Junior Achievement also has a sabbatical program. It's the only other place that I can think of off the top of my head. And they only did it because one of our employees, James Klein in Cedar Rapids, is on their board.
Yeah, I know
and
James.
They said, oh my gosh, what a great idea. We're going to implement that. It's if you've worked there for 10 years, that following year you get 30, it's a month. I don't know if it's 30 working days, but it's a paid leave, completely disconnected. Your email's shut off. They make you delete your apps. can't call you, text you, not even, hey, what was going on with this deal? Like, nope, have to leave. There's two great things about that. First of all, you get rewarded for 10 years of loyalty to the bank.
Sure.
And these people are, they have institutional knowledge built at that point. You want to make sure that they stay happy at work. Piece number two, I think, needs to be highlighted is that there is a little bit of a continuity purpose there. Somebody who's been there for 10 years tends to take on a lot of things that nobody really realizes.
Sure.
And if they were to leave tomorrow, what would happen to that? So it gets them thinking, okay, well, here's a thing that nobody else knows how to do. If I were to leave tomorrow, they couldn't do it, and it would fall apart. So as a business, you're like, okay, let's force them to go take 30 days off and see if there's anything there that we need to be able to build into our continuity process.
No, that makes a ton of sense. We, as an organization right now, are in the process of going through all of our standard operating procedures for that very reason.
Yeah.
But I think I like a sabbatical better. That sounds more fun than standard operating procedures.
Some people travel, some people just, they're like professional grandma, grandpa for a month.
I love it.
There's been some other things that have taken, it's so much fun to hear when they come back and they're like, we did this and I spent 2 weeks out there and saw somebody I hadn't seen in a while, or spent some quality time with my significant other. I think it's such a cool thing. Now, I've got a little ways to go. I started in 23, so I'm trying to do the math. My kids will be out of high school by the time I take my first one, so maybe we'll do something fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like an opportunity for a trip, some time away.
I think so. Me, I like to travel, so.
There you go.
We'll
something
fill
on the
something in there.
horizon to
That's
keep
right.
you going, a little carrot.
That's right.
Well, and I think in giving a sabbatical, you are giving people time, which really is the one limited resource. And I think that is incredibly cool. And I think it's unique, and I think we should all have sabbaticals. Now, I'm going to regret saying that because every one of my team members is going to come and say, "When's that starting?" But no, I think it's fantastic.
And it's not easy.
Genuinely.
As a business, how hard it is to deal without a person for an entire month. Is almost impossible, and especially if they're a 10-year employee, they're carrying a lot of weight.
Well, and when you're a team of just over 30, right? That makes a big difference.
And the bank has to be open from 8 to 5 every single day. And this is part of my point. Of those 30 people we have that I mentioned, most of them are tellers and bankers. So they're frontline people that have to have the doors of the bank open, legally required to be open.
Right.
From 8 to 5, 5 days a week. You can't, there's like a 48-hour window. You can't do some of that outside of the bank holidays, and they're still going out and putting 1,000 hours of community time in. They're still trying to take care of their families. They're still, as busy as your life is, they still have to do that. So trying to find small ways to reward them for that time is what they're all about. We just came up with a new program. It's called H2E2, Happy, Healthy, Engaged Employees.
Oh, I love that.
H2E2.
Yeah.
If you're happy, if you're healthy, you're more engaged at work. And one of the things they did was give us 3 more days of PTO every year. So there's 9 bank holidays in a year. There's 3 months that don't have a federal bank holiday. So each of those months, they added just an extra day of floating PTO.
Wow.
For you to go out and take, and just another little way to say thank you. Go out, take care of yourself. Our manager is officers, so I'm a vice president at the bank, and manage our commercial division. So as an officer, we also have requirements, but not that you would think. One of them is don't send an email, text, or take a phone call after the hours of 6 p.m. until 6 a.m. the next day.
Okay.
If you do, my boss has literally reprimanded me for sending her emails at 8 o'clock at night. Well, that's Stacy. She emails me all the time at 8 o'clock at night, but it's not allowed for me to do it the other way. But I mean, it's fine, and it is what it is, but it's always a reminder, like, hey, when you're not here, be present with your family, with what you're doing. And just such a wonderful place to be, where they encourage that type of behavior.
No, that's fantastic. What else haven't we covered about community bank and trust that you want to talk about today, Phil?
I would just say the big thing is we have local decision making. We have the capacity of a regional or national bank. People don't realize all the expertise that we have there with industries like ESOPs, with nonprofits, different lending structures, mergers and acquisitions, which was always my specialty. And it's easy to think with only 31 people here that we're a small bank. And we are, and we have local decision making. We want to come out and sit kneecap to kneecap with you and help you with your business, help you with your finance. But we really do have the capacity and sophistication of a large bank. I'm always trying to remind people of that. You know, I came from a national bank before I was at Community Bank and Trust. I can do all the same things I could do there.
Yeah.
And it's a surprise to people, and I like to remind people of that.
Good. No, I love that. That's great.
Thanks for asking.
Okay, so Phil, how long have you lived here in the Cedar Valley?
2012.
2012. What brought you here?
I like to say my wife won the tug of war between. We did. We lived in Ankeny, and I grew up on a farm in south central Iowa.
Sure.
And we lived in Ames and then Ankeny. And Ankeny was building Centennial High School at the time. It was just growing so much. It took me 20 minutes to go 2 miles on my commute. And I didn't know my neighbors. There was no connection. It just didn't, it felt cold. And we had our first baby. Kelly was from Waterloo, my wife.
Okay, yep.
And we're like, well, it'd be nice to have some family support. I had a job promotion opportunity with the bank I was at. And we moved here in 2012 to take that. So it was a great opportunity in a lot of ways. But I was also an outsider. And I'll say this, I don't know if maybe this is bad to repeat, but
please do.
I was one of the people not born in the Cedar Valley
Sure.
that thought of this as a bad place to live.
Okay.
You know, and that's kind of that perspective we're always trying to fight. As soon as I got here, I mean, within 6 months, I was in the Rotary Club. I was part of the Boys and Girls Club. People were inviting me to things. I just felt like all my neighbors were out doing things, and I knew everybody, and it just felt like a community. And growing up in a small town, it had that feel.
Sure.
Small town, but then you're looking around, you're like, I could go to Gallagher for something. We could go to UNI. They have Division I sports there that we can do. There's a lot of things to do in Waterloo. The restaurants, let's talk, you know, and all the different culture you can experience. The events, you know, my Waterloo days, Main Street stuff, all of it was just like, there's just constant things. Smaller schools, more access to your teachers, you know who the people are that are leading things. And I fell in love with the Cedar Valley.
Love that.
My wife was born here, so she's already in love, but it took me a little bit, but I'm not moving from here.
Awesome.
And I encourage people to move here any chance that I get, like, hey, you know, come check it out.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I think to your point, if we don't acknowledge that there are some challenges with perception and we don't start to put things in place to try and combat those perceptions, then they're going to always exist. So that's why we do our work with Live the Valley. That's why we need our community ambassadors to go out and talk about what makes this community such a great place
100%.
to call home.
You guys
right?
are doing a great job, and I would never say that you weren't. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just telling the story, and
Takes
I think
all
you
of
guys
us.
are doing an amazing job with it.
Well, thank you. So I usually love to ask, what's one thing you love about this community? And I feel like that might be a challenge for you, but give me your one thing. What's one thing that you love about the Cedar Valley community? Person, place, thing?
For me, okay, I just love how engaged it feels here.
Okay.
And I don't know how to put a point on that, but it feels like everywhere I turn, I run into people on the street. I'll give you an example. You know Steve Kerrigan, he just retired as executive
absolutely. director
at Gallagher. He and I are in Rotary together. I just got an email from him before I walked in inviting me to the Spokesman's Club, which is kind of a, you know, it's a place where you can meet some more people and not to say that it's just one of those things where Steve's not an outlier. You know, he's one of 100 people that do the same exact thing for me every single day. It's not hard to get plugged into this community because everybody wants you to be involved.
Yeah.
I always tell people, they're like, well, I can't find, you know, a board to be on. I can't find a place to volunteer. I'm like, you're just not looking hard enough because people are just dying to have you come, and it's fun and they're engaging. And so that's the thing that I love the most is people are just constantly wanting to be friends with you.
I love that. I love that. So I want to circle back just a little bit to the top of the conversation. And we talked about the importance of giving back.
Mm-hmm.
One organization that your bank has given to consistently is the United Way. In fact, you've had 100% employee giving to United Way for the last 29 years. That's impressive.
29 sounds right. Yeah, next year would be 30 years, and it's basically since the inception. It's been a priority of Stacy's. We love the United Way. It's a great way to spread the wealth a little bit, quote unquote. But they always try to find the people that need it most at the time, which is another benefit, is we don't have to go out hunting and trying to figure out what's the priority is. United Way funnels it and says the priority this year is this. And then it's followed by this, this, and this. But we can all just kind of give into that, it's pass the hat.
Absolutely.
Take up a collection. 29 years is a lot, but at this point we're like, man, we can't let this go.
Yeah.
So now we take it personally. And all the employees, it's really not that hard to get people to donate.
Yeah.
We just put that out and say, hey, guys, 28 years, we got to go for 29. And,
Yeah.
And we make it fun. It's jeans days, it's little parties. It's, we have something called the Fun Committee at work, and all they do is just organize parties throughout the year.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night, we're going to the Smash Room. We're going to smash some stuff, maybe have a cocktail or two, that sort of thing. There's little things throughout the year, and the United Way Committee does it too. Like, hey, we're having Pizza Friday.
Yep.
Bring in a donation of this and, get some free pizza or wear jeans that day and stuff like that. Yeah. It's pretty fun. And, we're just proud to be part of the United Way.
Yeah. So Sam Gutnecht, talked to her this morning.
Okay.
And she wanted to know how you encourage your team to stay involved in the community. But I think I know now. It's peer pressure and incentives.
Peer pressure and incentives. It works, Put the heat on people. Not at all. The incentives do work.
For sure they do.
And let's be honest.
For sure they do.
Pizza, jeans days are important because at the bank we try to keep up appearances. But if you throw jeans in and maybe it's March Madness, wear your favorite team sweater, that sort of thing comes. And in the fall everybody likes to talk smack about their favorite NFL teams and stuff like that. And we do March Madness, we do fantasy football as a team, all those little things, throw some money in the hat for United Way. That's really all it is.
Yeah.
And we just make it fun, and it's not that hard to get people involved. They're already, like I said, 1,000 hours.
Yeah.
So they're already doing stuff.
Yep.
We're like, hey, just remember the United Way while you're doing it.
Yeah. Well,
not hard at all. They're good people.
And all kidding aside, it is evident that giving back to this community is part of the fabric of Community Bank and Trust. So while peer pressure and incentives, we can laugh about that. When it comes down to it, your bank is committed to giving back to this community, and you demonstrate it all year long.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So thank you for
I
that.
do tend to be too humble about things. So thank you for calling me out, Katy. Yeah. But it's literally written in our vision and values that we are going to support the community. That's why we're here.
Awesome. Well, Phil Nash, thank you so much for joining us on our podcast today. It has been an enjoyable conversation, as it always is with you. I love talking with you. So.
My first podcast, but you made me feel very comfortable. It's just
awesome.
like we were having coffee any other day, Katy.
That's the goal. Two old friends. Thanks, Phil. Thanks for joining the conversation. More stories, updates, and voices from across the Cedar Valley coming your way. Stay tuned for the next episode.